Welcome back, fellow Wacksters, to the next episode of Tyranny. So, we are at the top of the spire, and war has broken out between the chorus and the disfavored. Now, what shall happen next? Civil war, what a shame. It descended into this. Archon Ash will want to meet and discuss the next steps. Best that you regroup in Iron Hearth. Gather your strength and regroup, but don't leave the Archon waiting. Send Ash my regards. The General has done much for me, and I wish he was here to see this. I'll join the Archon at Iron Hearth after I speak to Tunon. Tell Ash that I will join him in due time. Okay, after I speak to Tunon. That would be best. She shakes her head and looks out on the spire with fresh bewilderment. It's not enough that we're fighting two wars. Now we have this puzzle through. I don't envy your precision. See you at Iron Hearth. The dizzying energy from the spire falters. Whatever force awoke the powers that reside here gutters and fades, though a faint hum persists in the sculpture at the center. That's odd. There was a portal here a moment ago, but it seems to have vanished. I don't know what happened. This is all new to me. Look around for a solution. Calm down, I can fix this. Look around for a solution. The humming from the curious sculpture pulses and builds in volume, as if to draw your attention. And we have some levels up. Let's get one more in might. Wait, what more can I do here? Oh, it's for Ebb. Okay. One more skill point. So we have the explosive missile. Ooh, stun. Percent chance to strike 2 times with basic attack, 4% chance to strike 3 times with basic attack, plus 10% bow damage. That's interesting. Terrified when you hit from stealth. Sounds even better. Let's go with that. Okay, now Ebb. She has either Gravelight or Tidal. We have 4 points. What is Gravelight? It is like kind of a necromancer without the summoning spells. So, what should we grab? There's 1 talent point in Tidal Tree. Get a bonus to all frost damage. Affliction applied to Ebb. Have the duration reduced. Summon a globe of water to surround the target's head, leaving them slowly drown. That's interesting. And that's a nice passive 80% reduction. Oh, that's a nice ability as well. Oh, so double attack while not being hit. And here and here. Okay. like that. Wits and resolve. There we go. Okay, let us continue. What is this? Spire rest bonus, but 5 to all skills. Wow. So I learned today that tap basically shows me everything which I can do. Check out this place. On closer inspection, a series of symbols carved around the base of the structure come into view. One symbol pulses with a blue-white glow. The pattern resembles the glowing lines of light seen on the floor of Ascension Hall, moments before you found yourself transported about the clouds. As you stare at the symbol, the chill of the wind abates and your chest swells with warmth. The air finally feels welcoming, your lungs sated at last. You staked your claim on the tower and everything in it. Whatever that sculpture is, it belongs to you. I can feel power running through this place. Ep surveys the surroundings, her gaze sweeping to the object at the center. You can sense the magic of the spire, even from down below. But up here, this close to the axis of the spire, the deluge of energy is numbing. I feel dizzy. Do you feel dizzy? Barrick massages the brow of his helmet, causing a howl of grinding iron to echo across the expanse. What is this thing? The surface of the stone orb trembles at your words. For a brief moment, the solid rock undulates, the same motion as a quiet pond rippled by rain. An echo bounces back from afar, your voice distorted and unfamiliar. Is this thing? Your voice. For a moment there, it sounded like a song. The sculpture is once again still. There is a rush warmth through your body, a jolt of innervation that steadies your balance. A barrage of tactile sensation floods your mind as you feel footsteps and wind, but not on your face or your limbs. A moment later, the flood of information begins to make sense. You are feeling the wind against the spire, and even the weight of your own feet, as if the spire were a second spine. With this connection made, you feel your awareness pull from this place, not as a traveler, but as one glimpsing the world from impossibly far away. In this moment, there's nothing you cannot see, though you see it nearly all at once in a flood of sensation that is difficult to parse. You see a spire at the crossing of an ancient stone structure, two walls extending off into the distance. At the base of this eternal spire, settlers and merchants act in every way unconcerned, toiling under the observation of unforgiving taskmasters. As the shadow of the spire falls over them, the mood changes. The settlers pause and share their knees and look up at the sky, toward you. Though you haven't seen it in person, you are certain this is the vision of Lithian's crossing, for nowhere else are the Tearsmen brave or desperate enough to settle at the intersection of bane-ridden old walls. Near this settlement, built at the joining of the ancient walls, you see a breach in the massive masonry, a cleft into the forbidden, hidden realm within the old walls. Drift closer to the spire, drift into the old walls entrance. Let's go closer to the entrance. Shadows envelop you, muting all sound and vision with slight delay. There's a feeling of perversion, of wrongness. Whatever arcane power is allowing your senses to drift free of your body seems to falter in this place. Figures haunt the stone halls, drifting emanations of cloud, claw, and fang. They pay you no heed, but you fear them all the same. In the depths of this forbidden place, the deepest chamber is bathed in light. An arcane symbol illuminates the floor, though their details hurt your eyes when you focus. With a gentle tug, your focus pulls back to a new horizon, though it takes you a moment to recognize it as Vendrian's well. You've returned to the awareness of your immediate surroundings. The effect leaves you unsteady on your feet. Drift closer to the spire. The spire feels similar to the one you now occupy, though instead of radiating arcane life, it reeks of dust and crumbling stone. A branch withering once pulled from its tree. It reaches for you with a barely perceptible tug. The link between you and the spire recedes. The arcane bond is still present, but the mystical energies for the moment are quiet. Your body flooded with excitement and fatigue. It's unclear whether the mystic connection is strengthening you or siphoning. The tower offers nothing but way of answer, and you know that asking would only yield more silence and mystery. The deluge of sensation is over, but the positions of the other spires will linger in your mind. From your vantage point atop the mountain spire, you can easily spot the mysterious structures, each of them high above their distant surroundings. Wow. Strange. Ep curls her fingers and draws a quick sigil in the air, then studies how it fades. The magic of this place responds to you. The portal, the braziers, it all grows more vibrant when you approach. Before we get ahead of ourselves, it's worth remembering that you entered Kairos' edict. That's no small feat. Maybe your connection to this place is related. Either way, sounds like something for the arcane-minded to investigate. Be sure to see me after your audience with Tunan. We cannot let the Scarlet Chorus gain hold in the tears. Together we will wipe them from the land. Come to me as soon as you can, Fatebinder. We have a lot of work to do. I couldn't agree more. Alright. Well, let's see. Does the bracers activate? No. What about in here?
Can't do that.
So these are icons all around. Sculpture doesn't respond to your touch.
Will do.
No. No, then nothing more we can do here, I suppose. Uh-huh. Let's check out Ascension Hall first. So interesting. It seems like this will be our main base of some sorts. But I wonder who we will face. Yeah, this game has some weird loading issues for some reason. I can't really figure out why. Huh. But if you just let it load, it should pass. It has until yet. But let's not jinx it. Ah, that looks lovely. Stone throne is caked with a solid layer of dust. No one has sat upon it for quite some time. Because of this architect and master of craftsmanship. All the remains of all plate is bits of bread. Tingy water. Okay. So nothing in there. Now we can finally see what's in here.
Might we not simply break it?
Excuse me. Oh, so there's also a crafting system in this game. Interesting. Locked iron gauntlets. This item can be created with access to a Spire Forge, upgrading with other materials. I wonder how we could miss some of the things before. Okay, now let's exit. great axe. Some loot out here. Tier 4's bronze great speed. Maybe something up here. Oh, there's something down here. Let's check out Ep if we have anything she might be able to use. Ooh. I like this item. Do we have anything? Or Shaker Hood suits her well. Wait. What happened with her boots? Oh, there. There. Much better. Aha! Always loot at the hidden places. Water. Memory dates back to Kairus' initial conquest of Tears. Okay. And let us leave this place. But there's no world map. Okay, so we have all these places to go. Interesting. Okay. Burning Library, Stone Sea. So since Spire, Bastard City, we need to return. To Tunon. I guess this area in Sister Spire was what we saw in Division. So now it's time to meet Tunon. Basically the Archon of us. As a fate binder. Lady Lucretius, this well-dressed older woman stands apart from the milling crowds of nobles. She stares off into the distance, oblivious to your approach until you're right in front of her. Oh, greetings. She offers a reserved smile. And the Lucretius, formerly of Thistleholm, you have the look of someone who belongs here. A fate binder, no doubt. She nods. Do you need something from me? What are all these nobles doing in Tun's court? How has the bastard city fared since the conquest? What springs noble to yourself? Tell me of yourself. I'm the daughter of a noble house. We were wealthy enough to live in this city, but our means beyond that were limited. My mother dealt in fish, textiles, and bronze. By the time I inherited, the business was taking care of itself. She's 6. Of course, all that has changed. Thistleholm is no more, and my name has none of its former weight. Even if we were still in business, Kairus' laws would stifle our trading rights. Perhaps it's better this way. What are all these nobles doing in Tunan's court? She smiles, smirks, and shakes her head. Trying to look brave, I warned. But if you crane an ear to any of these conversations, you'll hear a different tale. 3 years since Tunan set up shop in the bastard city, we're still getting used to our new masters and figuring out what we can and can't ask of them. She nods to the assembled nobles. These are smart, ring-plenty people. The folk they approach Tunan. They think they were raised under a tyrant's lash. Some have come to settle agreements, others to pledge fealty. I've been standing around long enough to know that the Adjudicator doesn't care for empty gestures. How's the bastard city fared since the conquest? The armies claimed the city in a quieter, more organized manner than I might have expected. I can credit them that much, to be sure. Thanks to Chorus infiltrators, most of our officials were put to the sword before we surrendered. The chaos made the takeover easy for Kyrus' forces, but controlling the city without any leaders to bend the knee was harder work. We've suffered our share of hardship, but it seems that Kyrus wants us alive. That's a more generous outcome than some of us were led to believe. What brings a noble like yourself to Tunan's court? A frown cracks her pleasant demeanor. Like the rest of the frightened inbreds here, I come to see Tunan and ask him to right a wrong. My manor was destroyed during the conquest. I told the Adjudicator my woes, but we didn't exactly see eye to eye. What is Thistleholm? A great sick deflates her. It was my family's ancestral hall. The oldest stones dated back to the years when the bastard city was not but a dozen roofs and wagons clustering for warmth. Compared to the houses of the great lords, it was nothing special. Age had softened the wood, and its queer placement in the warehouse district set it apart from the finer grounds where the lords and ladies strolled for amusement. It was a mess, but our mess all the same. I would invite you over for tea, something stronger even, but it would only disappoint. You'll find naught there but a gaping hole. What happened? Collateral damage, what happened? When the Adjudicator cast his judgment on the bastard city, he destroyed the districts of the corrupt merchant kings, their manors, their counting houses, and yes, their warehouses. Aged, dignified Thistleholm collapsed as a massive sinkhole opened under her foundation. The bastard city's laws may not have been perfect by Kyrus' standards, but my family followed them with respect and never took a coppering more than we deserved. I can't help but feel that my estate was not the criminal Tunan had in mind during his sentencing. So what are you going to do next? That's the question, isn't it? I appealed to the Adjudicator, thinking he would see reason. After considering my case for all of 8 seconds, he awarded me a belt of rings and a plot of land on the outskirts of the city. Tunan told me to build anew and start farming. Farming! Can you believe that? She shakes her head. It's not even that I'm opposed to the labor, but we're in a war. I can't have the Scarlet Chorus breathing down my neck, raiding my crops, and Kyrus knows what else. Tunan's word is Kyrus' law, whether you think it fair or not. Kyrus' laws are made to serve the masses, not the individual. Stop whining and take your rings. Justice is done. The Scarlet Chorus are dogs. I suggest you use those rings to higher protection. Tunan's word is law. Yeah, second one. I can appreciate that, especially when there's suffering or corruption on a grand scale. It all makes sense on parchment, doesn't it? She glances to the left and right with unease. I come from a long line of smart, ring-savvy merchants, but even I can't reconcile Tunan's justice with Kyrus' law. There's something wrong about it all. Maybe Tunan knows something I don't, or maybe she trails off, shaking her head in doubt. What do you mean? People come here for justice. They usually get a version of it, but it's Tunan's version, not theirs. Half of the time, they don't even get what they wanted out of the ruling in their favor. She shakes her head. The deed to a farm, for instance. Not to put my own ignorance on display, but if more people knew how Kyrus' laws worked, they might not come here seeking a ruling at all, even a fair one. Tunan is a servant of law, but he's the overlord's vassal as much as any of us. Sometimes it seems like he uses his position to twist everything in the Empire's favor. We're just pieces on a board, and he can move us wherever the law justifies that we stand. That doesn't sound, well, legal. Chaos defines the law. That isn't for us either of us to question. Tunon isn't one to change his mind. Unfair as it might seem, the ruling stands. You should know better than to speak ill of the Adjudicator in my presence. I can only endeavor to bring true justice to the tears. Fascinating. Now, how much is my silence worth to you, ungrateful one? No, let's not blackmail. Kairos defines the law, isn't for either of us to question. I can only endeavor to bring true justice to the tears. Jedi way. At least one of Kairos' agents has their heart in it. I'm still holding out hope that the tears are left standing after this war, and that Kairos' peace makes great of us. A lady can hope, can't she? Farewell, Fatebinder. Be well. Okay, so we're a place of potential. Any petition that displeases Tunon will meet their fate in the pits below the court. And here we have Tunon himself. Great. Let us enter. Mocking Blaze and Aurora.
You call yourselves officers of Kairos' army, but your conduct falls short of my expectations. The court finds your accounts of Vendrian's well lacking, rife with misdirection and fallacy, fouled with baseless accusation.
The shadows beneath Tunon's cloak darken and flare around him. Murmurs of unease erupt in the court. Let's just listen. Albitronus, Your Honor, I have relayed the events as I experienced them. You can well imagine why my version conflicts with his. She makes a dismissive gesture to the Scarlet Chorus representative. On my honor, and on that of the great general, I would sooner snap my sword than perjure myself before you, Archon. Blood Mulch goes, oh, so you imply the falsehood comes easier to my lips than yours. You're a fool if you believe the Archon of Justice won't see through your lies because the disfavored thinks themselves better than an honest gang.
Silence! The contradictions in your statements will be examined, and falsities threshed from truths. If we find you have perjured yourselves, Bled and Mark will see to your fate.
The Archon turns and you feel his gaze upon you.
Fatebinder, we will start with the matter of the Archons. Graven Ash and the Voices of Nerat have declared war upon each other. In addition to violating Kairos' peace, they have thrown the conquest of the Tears into disarray. By all accounts, these hostilities began shortly after your arrival. Tell us what transpired.
The Voices of Nerat may have killed Graven Ash's son or worse. Through powers you can't begin to understand, the Voices of Nerat steals the minds and knowledge of his victims. You know this happened often during the campaign against the Tears. What he gains from this ability, beyond his apparent madness, is anyone's guess. You know better than to ask him about it directly. Ah, so that's what happened to Graven Ash's son. The Archons could not agree on who would lead the siege, and descended into accusations of treachery. It seemed a mutual spat. The Archons have been a different minds since the start of this war. No need to lie to our own boss. May have killed his son or worse.
Could this be true? The senseless killing of a good Northman, especially the Archon's bloodkin, is no small act of war. The Voices of Nerat would answer for this crime.
Clearly, the Fatebinder has spent too much time resolving the problems of others. He sees only controversy and intrigue. It's no wonder that we're worse off now than before he arrived. The Archons could not agree on who should lead the siege and descended into accusation of treachery. No. It's been at his father's throat since the start of the war.
Your perspective is appreciated, but the dispositions of the two Archons are already a matter of record. Loyal subjects of Kairos have drawn blood from each other, a cardinal crime. Something happened at Vendrian's Well to trigger this feud.
The Archons could not agree on who should lead the siege and descended into mutual accusations of treachery. It seemed a mutual spat. The disfavored were more deserving of the honor. Our tactics and training outmatched the Vendrian Guard at every turn. What balderdash! The disfavored couldn't tip over a straw hut if they had a week to strategize. Our howling mob was better equipped to overwhelm the Vendrian Guard. Our recruits were ready to throw themselves at the enemy, if only Ash and his legions would agree to a plan.
The Fatebinder presents testimony. I warn you both against speaking out of turn. Something more than a mere disagreement unraveled this campaign. But I will return to that in time. Let us speak of Ascension Hall. The disfavored sing your praises across the realm, though the Scarlet Chorus appeal for charges of treason. Perhaps you can offer a more enlightened account.
I claimed the Citadel with a small unit of disfavored. Lie, I took the Citadel with my own cunning employment of a small group of disfavored as a distraction. No, that's...
an efficient solution. The type I would expect from a capable agent. Tell me though, with the edict looming overhead and death the price of failure, why not employ the numerical advantage of the Scarlet Chorus?
The voices of the rap-provoked ashes have returned. I suspected treachery. The siege called for taxes and planet, not Rowan Darmbus. For a long while, the Adjudicator hovers in silence, shadows trailing from below his robes.
I will consider this testimony at length. The court thanks you for it. Is there anything you wish to add at this time?
I have told you all that I know.
Your testimony is accepted by the court. The statements of our guests raise questions in my mind. There is much about this campaign that has caused me to wonder.
Oh, you and I both, Tyranny.
A shipment of iron weapons was short on arrival. Where coveted iron is concerned, I don't believe it to be a clerical error. One of my agents recovered this seal in Echo Call. It belongs to a merchant collective. Lethian's Crossing is teeming with their kind. If you would root out treachery, I would advise starting there.
There's more to this iron shipment than we believed at first.
Petitioners, leave us. I would have a private audience with the Fatebinder. Ascend and join me. You will find the way opened.
Very well. Fatebinder. More Fatebinders. Let's see who they are. Fatebinder Kallio, Anthelas, I see you've returned to the fold. Your exploits in Vendrian's Well are the matter of some discussion. The Fatebinder of Balance regards you with a discerning eye, and for a moment you feel as if she is trying to peer into the very depths of your mind. What can I do for you? Kallio touches a gentle hand to his shoulder. Has anything happened while I was away? Let's ask about that. There have been whispers that Cairn grew disloyal to Graven Ash's command during the campaign in Ashur. I took up the mantle of investigating near Plainsgate and, judging the rumors to be true, dispatched Cairn by proclaiming Kyrus' edict of stone. The very earth turns against the traitorous Archon as the region split asunder in righteous judgment. You seem to know much of my actions. Have you been spying on me? Don't act so surprised. It's my duty to ensure that those who operate under the Adjudicator's name adhere to the spirit of his law, if not the very letter. And those who don't, of course I've got nothing to hide. So you say, but I have to weigh all evidence presented before me with an objective eye. Assuming you are being watched, Fatebinder, but don't concern yourself. There's no more than any citizen of the Empire can expect. How have you occupied your time in the Bastard City? Tulan sends me on assignments here and there. I settle disputes between the locals and when the Adjudicator is otherwise occupied. She smirks. Everything from trade disagreements to pushing chorus squatters out of basements. Real rewarding work. I'd like to know more about Tulan. Tulan is our overlord's fair and exacting Adjudicator. He speaks with the voice of Kyrus' law, and his words is judgment. All of this and more you can learn by asking him yourself. Go on, or does he intimidate you still? She chuckles softly. I jest, of course. I have some concern about the war. You are free to share them in confidence. She leans in closer. We cannot crush the opposition with such weak efforts. We are too lenient. Bloodshed and brutality reign supreme. Peace cannot follow such cruelty. Our armies squabble at each other's throats. Divided we cannot win. Second thought, let me ask. Divided we cannot win. I'm less concerned about the armies than the Archons themselves. There can be no order when the mountains collide. Who would you see as champion? The disfavored, our elite troop will bring us victory. The Scarlet Chorus, their ruthlessness will win this war. Neither, they're both at fault and equally inept. I'm really pro the disfavored in this case. However, the next playthrough I will do, when this will be done in, let's say, 50 more episodes, I will try to go pro Scarlet Chorus and then go the Sith way. There is wisdom behind your reasoning. Wars are won through cunning and strategy and strength. The disfavored are outmatched only in number on the battlefield. Considering the opposition, Ash and his soldiers more than make up the difference. Farewell. Fatebinder Rogulas. Fatebinder, you return. Rogulas looks up at you and down with an inscrutable expression. You look as if you have questions for me to untangle. Ask, I am feeling generous. Tell me about some of the past Archons. Much that was known has been lost regarding the first Archon of Frost, but his talents were improved upon by 3 following Archons, sisters, born together and never since seen apart. It is Rana, Nirabel, and Slayer. Were so cold at birth that they were thought stillborn. Where did you study when you were younger? I've been a ward of the court for as long as I've been aware. As a child, I demonstrated wholly perfect recall, and I absorbed all that Tunon and my tutors had to offer. I remember hating all the lectures and wishing I could learn at my pace. Funny how I envied the sages of the Tears, how they could spend their whole lives reading and never exhaust their library. This is all just lore. I'm not going to go into that. Let's go talk to Tunon. We can always return to these guys later. Servius. Aurora. Tunon is more important for now.
This civil war, this feud, is an insult to Kairos' peace. It should not have taken the better part of a year to silence the last vestiges of the Oathbreakers.
Tunon regards you in thoughtful silence. I agree, Your Honor.
Our allies squabble while our enemies regroup. It falls upon the court to measure the extent of the damage, and to execute the agents of disorder. I suspect that treachery, negligence, disunity, and greed have infected one or both of our esteemed allies. Until you are instructed otherwise, this matter is the court's primary focus. Graven Ash and the voices of Nerat must be examined in close detail. You are charged with observing the Archons and presenting your case that one of them has wrought chaos and disorder upon the Tears.
I will make this my mission, Your Honor.
As always, you will be held accountable for what you do in the court's name. But you are free to conduct your investigation in the manner of your choosing. You must expect lies, misdirection, and manipulation. Suffer not such obstructions of justice. The disfavored seem the logical first step in your inquiry. The Legion holds you in some esteem, and Graven Ash has shown deference to the court in times past. No doubt the disfavored will be rife with accusations and evidence against the voices of Nerat. Graven Ash is a noble man, but never underestimate his capacity for deception. A wise general succeeds by knowing when to be unreadable to the enemy. You should, of course, speak with the Scarlet Chorus and gather their testimony, but it stands to reason that most in the chorus would sooner brag about a pauldron fashioned from your skull than entertain your questions. Do not regret killing the rabble that impede your investigation. They will be easily replaced.
I'll speak with the Archon of War. If Graven Ash were guilty, I imagine all his soldiers would lie for him.
I concur. Graven Ash has a reputation for honor and nobility, but nobody is above reproach. If he is guilty of treachery in some fashion, his loyal soldiers will not be the ones to betray him. But if anyone is conducting a symphony of lies, common sense would point to the voices of Nerat. Your fellow Fatebinders have been busy acting as my eyes and ears. I have a few leads for you to follow. You should, of course, speak with your brothers and sisters of the court if you need further counsel. The disfavored have made use of the Sage's network of dovecotes and messenger birds as they come under capture. I've heard multiple claims of strategic communications gone missing. The Sages are broken, their citadel in flames, but they were not slaughtered to the last. Some of their numbers still congregate around the smoking husk of their burning library. If they have been reading disfavored communications, learn what they learned, then execute them. There is a final matter to discuss. A sensitive topic.
Though it's impossible to gauge from his expression, Tunan seems more wary than usual. What concerns the court, Your Honor?
In spite of the many shortcomings at Vendrian's Well, you managed to make a name for yourself. You proclaimed an Edict of Kairos, resolved its demanding conditions, and ascended the mountain spire. Any one of these feats would be worthy of recognition by the highest authority. You managed to accomplish 3.
Tunan hovers in observance, awaiting a response. It's only doing my job, Your Honor. I'm in privileged position to accomplish incredible deeds. Yes.
It pleases me that you grasp your role, as long as you temper it with a sense of duty. Whether by design or by accident, you have captured the attention of Kairos' army and the local tiersmen alike. This is no small opportunity, and the court charges you with exploiting your new standing to its fullest potential. You have a title in our hierarchy. However, it's a little-known secret that one's standing in the world is determined by their infamy, their deeds, and how they come to be known. Mind this notion as you bring justice to this lawless frontier. There may come a time when your deeds speak for you louder than any title. If your killing spree in the bastard city is any indication, you are no stranger to spreading infamy already.
Tunan nods in approval.
Whatever you did to capture the attention of the masses at Vendrian's Well, I would encourage you to do so again.
Understood. I will be known as the champion of justice.
Good. It falls to us to set a new standard for these southern barbarians. You are dismissed. Should the court have need of your presence, you will receive word. Go forth and do my bidding, and bring glory and honor to the tiers in Kairos' name.
Tunan raps his gavel against the floor, a singular note resounding throughout the hall.
Yes.
Alright then. Interesting conversation. However, we must end the episode here because we seem to have run out of time. So, hope you guys are enjoying the series thus far. See you in the next one. Wack out.